I want to thank everyone for coming to the IEP meeting today. We were going to start out with introducing everyone and their roles involved in this IEP meeting. This IEP meeting is a review. So first we have our general education teacher. Her role today is to collect, and throughout the year, is to collect data in the general education classroom, and we'll be reading and going over the parts and answering questions pertaining to measurable annual goals for reading all subject areas, math, ELA, executive functioning, which is like the behavior goals, and state and district standardized test scores in the general education classroom environment. We have our parent here today whose role is to represent their child and be their advocate, ask questions for clarification if and when needed, share relevant information to those in the meeting, and suggest instruction methods or other ways to help their child meet their goals that they've either used at home or have seen used and would like for us to try. We also have our district representative here whose role is to represent our school district and the employees of the school district. The representative is here to protect all parties involved and to address any conflicts that may arise before, during, and after our IEP meeting. We have our intervention specialist or SPED educator. Their role is to collect data in the special education classroom, and today they will be going over and reading parts, answering questions pertaining to the measurable annual goals for reading all subject areas, math, ELA, and the executive functioning or behavior goal that takes place within the special education classroom. We also have our occupational therapist here today whose role is to collect data during their OT sessions with the student, and they will be reading and going over and answering questions that pertain to the student's OT measurable annual goals and objectives, the benchmarks for their fine motor skills. The OT would also address the baseline data, progress, intervention, and the effect that it has on their general curriculum. As I stated, this is a review of the student's IEP. As you can tell, the norm for an IEP is to be in a quiet setting, typically a conference room, where we can discuss the child's IEP and not have distractions or other aspects of a school's daily functioning interrupting the meeting. We all sit at a round table. That way we can all see each other and we're able to address each other face to face, eye to eye, and we're all within a good proximity of one another. That way we are able to hear what each of us have to say, and we do enforce being respectful while in the meeting. So we are going to review the students' PLAFF PLAF. It is, let me find it here. Okay, it is the students' present level of academic achievement and functional performance. So in section 1, the current IEP information, Clyde is receiving special education services in OT for fine motor skills and intervention services for all academic areas, including his communication skills. So section 2, we have our evaluation information. Areas of eligibility is he gets intervention in math, reading, and writing, and he also has OT or occupational therapy. Special education primary category is the SLD or special learning disability. He also falls under the category for fine motor skills and communication. Clyde does need academic support across all academic areas. This is why he falls under the SLD category. So for state and district assessment scores, our students take what is called the NWEA. They also do the DRA and then DIBELS. So for the NWEA math, his fall scores, he got a 154 with the benchmark of being 175. We are currently testing for spring. Excuse me. We are currently testing for spring, so those scores will be in within the next week or so. But right now we do have his fall scores on file. For his NWEA reading for fall, this is K2, he scored a 146 with a benchmark of 172. Moving down to the DRA test or assessment, his fall DRA, he scored a 6. He had a benchmark of 16. And in winter, he had a DRA of 8 and his benchmark was 20. For the dibbles, we have nonsense word sounds, 34, benchmark of 50. His nonsense word whole words, which is, he got a 10, his benchmark was 15. For the dibbles, word reading fluency, he got a 9, his benchmark was 26. His oral reading words, he scored a 12 and his benchmark was 49. And then his oral reading accuracy, he got 54% and his benchmark was 92%. And those dibbles all took place in the fall. We have since then seen significant progress with his scores, and we are anticipating that his spring scores will be much higher. We do anticipate that he has met the benchmark for most, if not a few, of his state tests, but we will definitely take a look at that once we get our scores in. So going under to section 3, the present level of academic achievement and functional performance, we have parts A through E. So part A is cognitive. The WISC was administered on December the 10th of 2020. This is the Wechsler Intelligence Scale for Children, and this is the 5th edition, and it placed Clyde's level of cognitive functioning at a FSIQ of 75. Percentile rank, he ranked 6th. The standardized scores ranging from 90 to 109 are considered to be within the average range. 80 to 89 are considered to be in the low average, and 70 to 79 are be considered very low. So as you can tell, he does fall within that very low category. For physical, which includes his gross motor, fine motor, vision, and hearing, he receives PT, or did receive PT. When the IEP was initially written, he received PT at the time, but since then he's mastered all his goals, and the PT has made the decision that he no longer requires PT services. But during the time, his PT was there to help improve his strength, balance, body control, stability, coordination, and motor planning skills. Clyde receives OT to help address his pencil grip, proper letter formation, writing, along with proper word spacing. This word spacing is something that we're still really working on. His word spacing is still, you can't identify where one word starts and where one word ends, because the spacing, there is none. There is no spacing in between his words. So oral language and communication, Clyde does not require services to address his oral language and communication skills. Clyde is well versed and can carry on a conversation with a teacher or peer in the proper manner. He can communicate his wants and needs in a proper way, and he addresses when he needs help or support using his communication skills. For his social and emotional behavior, it's been noted that Clyde has a high level of distractibility during one-on-one therapy and during testing sessions. Clyde has inattention, hyperactivity, impulsivity, and defiance. Much of Clyde's behavior in these areas is passive. He's very social, so much so that he disrupts peers during lessons, and he needs a lot of redirecting. For his adaptive, Clyde is able to adapt well during lesson changes, during classroom schedule and specials. Clyde understands why changes are made and adapts well in many areas. When Clyde has a question pertaining to a change in schedule or routine, he'll ask, and once addressed, Clyde is able to adapt to the change positively. His current classroom-based data, Clyde is very needy in all academic areas and will not attempt work by himself. He does not want to risk being wrong on his work, which is why he won't attempt it on his own. Clyde is not 100% sound in terms of letter sounds. He confuses vowel sounds and needs reminders to apply his knowledge of blends and vowel pairs. Clyde consistently needs reminders to stay seated, no talking, and tries to avoid work by asking to go to the restroom multiple times during a lesson. Clyde is making progress in second grade math, but does from time to time reverses individual numbers and two-digit numbers. For example, if we want him to write a 12, he writes 21. If we want him to write 31, you could see him write 13. For the family input, Clyde's father, Mr. Doe, would like Clyde to make more progress in math and reading. Mr. Doe is concerned about the reading level of his son and he does work with Clyde to complete homework brought home from his general education teacher and from his special ed teacher. Summary of Clyde's work habits. When focused, Clyde works hard on the task at hand, but when distracted, he does need a lot of redirecting. Clyde is eager to complete his work when a reward is made available to him. So there are times where he does not engage in the work before him, but if we bring in an award system, for instance, we have like a treasure chest, and if he keeps all of his checks during the day, because he's doing his work and interacting with peers properly, then at the end of the day, he knows that as long as he's doing that, he'll get to pick out of his treasure chest. For the extended school year, it's been determined that he does not need extended school year services. And his father, Mr. Doe, has also stated that he does not want his child enrolled in extended school year services. The prior written notice, or the PWN, was sent home a week and a half before this meeting, so we got that signed and it was sent back to the school in an appropriate time. And then for the procedural safeguards, typically a hard copy of this is handed to the parent or guardian at the initial IEP meeting, and then at the annual IEPs after that, a link is made available to the parents that is listed on the actual IEP that they can go to and download another copy of that procedural safeguards in case they've lost their hard copy. And then we also have that there in case any updates have been made to the procedural safeguards. During IEP meetings, I would actively listen to and address the needs of families and other stakeholders throughout the meeting by definitely eye contact. I would make sure that with eye contact, if I had any questions during the meeting, I would definitely ask those questions so that they could be addressed. Definitely communication as far as reviewing the notes that we've taken before the IEP meeting. That way during the IEP meeting, we are all on the same page as far as the different areas we feel the student needs help in, the areas that we feel the student has the most strength in. And then for the families, definitely making phone calls prior to the meeting to make sure that the parents don't have anything that needs to be addressed before meeting starts. Definitely sending progress reports home and just keeping in close contact with the parent, whether that's through the phone calls or if that's through like an app on the phone, like Remind, where I can message parents and they get it automatically, and I can send them pictures of like the different progress or work that the student has been working on. That way, when they come to the IEP meetings, they understand the progress their students making and why we feel the students need possibly more support in one area versus the other. This concludes my mock IEP introduction. Have a great day.